Primary Election Day 2020 is upon us. What you need to know about your voting options. Public bikes are back in Arlington, sporting a color change and the ability to connect to Cambridge and Boston. And how a combination of innovation, flexibility, and a little bit of luck has helped a local institution keep its doors open. These stories coming up.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Hello everyone, I'm James Milan and welcome to ACMi News. Welcome also to September, which, like every other one of these recent months, promises to be a September unlike any we've experienced before. One familiar feature, albeit with COVID-19 wrinkles, is Primary Election Day, which this year falls on the 1st. ACMi News correspondent Anim Osmani reports on what's new in the voting process this time around.
The early voting period has come to an end ahead of the state primaries that will be taking place next week on September 1st, and over 40% of Arlington's registered voters already casted in their ballots. The town took a similar, if not the same, approach they did last June for the town hall elections by utilizing the drop-in boxes posted throughout town and the United States Postal Services. I spoke with Town Clerk Julie Brazil to highlight how the process went and to go over some important information voters may want to know ahead of the state primaries.
The town got 3 drop boxes for the June election, which was our first large experiment with voting by mail. And so we are keeping the locations the same as we used in June, partly because consistency is helpful. If people remember it was there, and they'll remember where it is in November. This is our second time this year, and we'll use them again in November.
I'd like to ask, how has the process been going with the drop-in ballot locations? Has it been going as well as you thought it would be? Have you been experiencing some difficulties?
It's always a challenge. So the state rewrote the software in late July. So we're beta testing an expanded vote by mail system. So I think it's going pretty well. Certainly not perfect. I think clerks across the state are finding odd little hiccups, unexpected things. You assume that if you do this and that and hit that button, it will create what you want, and it doesn't always. And so we're working around it. The state offices have been very helpful. The elections division is great. Everyone's working together.
Here's what some Arlingtonians have to say about the early voting process.
It's a little bit confusing. I mean, I got a ballot, and then they sent me another one because they thought that they sent me the wrong ballot, but it turns out they sent me the right one.
I do feel really good about Arlington putting up these vote by mail drop boxes, because I can still vote and keep my community safe by not going in, but also know that my ballot will arrive.
And I decided rather than put it in the mailbox, I'm dropping it off myself. And then what's great is you can go online and track your vote. Make sure they received it. And I think that's what drawn me to do it this way.
If there is any confusion about the voting process, everyone is encouraged to call Town Hall to address any concerns they may have. Here's one key point the town clerk would like to talk about.
People don't necessarily understand sort of the rules around a primary election. You have to pick a party, and if you are registered in a party, then you have to vote in that party. So I suspect that some people who called and said, I got the wrong ballot, checked off on their application that they wanted a party but were registered in a different party, and we would automatically send them the ballot for the party they're registered in, because that's how the system is set up. So little things like that can confuse any system. And so it's just educating voters that in a primary, you can only choose if you're unenrolled. The other thing I want to stress is that all ballots have to be received in our office or at the polls by 8 p.m. on election day. There is no postmark provision that allows a ballot to be counted because it was mailed. postmarked on the 1st. So I want to be very clear with that.
For more information about the elections, please contact the town clerk's office or use the online resources available on the town page. For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
Remember, whether it's in person, through the mail, or via one of those drop-in boxes, get those ballots in on time. Life in a pandemic affects pretty much everything. We probably don't need to tell you that. But happily, some small businesses have figured out how to adapt to the new conditions pretty successfully, including one local shop that has extended its reach way beyond Arlington. Anim Osmani has the story.
The pandemic has impacted businesses all over the world, from big corporations to small businesses. Some, as you may know, had to close down its doors, while others managed to stay afloat. One small Arlington business in particular found a way to work their way around it to not only keep its doors open, but to provide opportunities and educational resources to the greater community. The Upholstery on Broadway has been in town for 10 years, offering a wide range of upholstery services. So how can an upholstery business survive a pandemic? Kevin Kennedy, the owner of the store, shares some of his secrets that allowed him to continue to do what he enjoys.
I would say the difference in business is considerable, but I consider myself one of the lucky ones because I'm home furnishings, and I think most people are at home and they are thinking about their upholstery and how to be more comfortable at home. And I think moving forward, it's going to be more of the same. You know, people are going to be, businesses are going to realize that maybe keeping people at home is a better idea, at least for the near future. So that can only be better for home furnishings.
Not only did he luck out, Kevin Kennedy also expanded his horizons by reaching out to a wider audience with the help of his son, Patrick. One of the key points to his success is communication, especially using social media and the web to its full advantage.
With me and any other small business, we can turn on a dime. You know, there's one person making the decisions. And so we were really quick on advertising and making sure people know that we're still here through our website. Most of what we do today is social media.
So I think starting up the online part of the business, I mean, he's the master. He's got the local stuff, all the local work. But we really took that and we tried to apply it to people who, you know, in other countries, other states, even people who are local. So when they want to go online, say the pandemic, they don't want to come in, they don't want to see him, they're nervous about seeing him or something. They don't even have to do anything. They can do everything remotely. They can learn themselves. So what we did online was we really targeted like people who are wanting to do the DIY stuff. If they say they don't even want him to do the professional work, they can do it themselves. And we've set up a whole portal for that to happen for people. And nowadays, everyone's into that.
And another key point is, of course, adaptability to the changing conditions.
We have advertised that we have no face-to-face. You know, people can leave and they have their furniture on their porch and we'll pick it up from there. Everything when it goes back is covered in plastic, you know, so that it's fresh and new. And we have obviously in-house sanitizers everywhere and we keep things very clean. This is probably the cleanest upholstery shop you'll ever go in. Just the other day, yesterday, you know, so the communication is very important because some people are a little bit more stringent than others when it comes to the masks and contact and things like that. So we always ask, we're polite. I think that's really key, to respect others no matter how they feel about, you know, about anything.
For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
We are always interested in spotlighting local businesses, so if you know of one that has a story to tell, please contact us at news@acmi.tv. You probably remember Arlington's last foray into bike sharing. For a couple of years, Lime bikes in their distinctive fluorescent colors could be found all over town, which frankly didn't always please some residents. Now Arlington is adopting a new bike share program with quite different features, starting with the color of those bikes. ACMi News correspondent Maxim Isaac has the word from the street.
Pedal away, Arlingtonians. You can ride one of these blue bikes at any of the 4 new locations that are being installed throughout the town in the coming weeks. As of August 17th, the Select Board approved 4 locations for East Arlington and Arlington Center to have docking locations with a total of 38 bikes. Senior Transportation Planner in Arlington's Department of Planning and Community Development explains that the blue bikes, in comparison to the Lime bikes, would be more organized and would have access to other cities.
We had a pretty good experience with Lime Bike. The difference with the dockless model is that you could bring the bikes anywhere and drop them anywhere. The challenge is that you don't know where they're going to be. You have to look on the app to find them, or just kind of see them in the location. And we had always kind of wanted to be part of the Blue Bikes program, because the Blue Bikes, which used to be Hubway, is the one that connects you into Boston and Cambridge and the Central Core. With the Lime Bikes, we weren't allowed to people could not bring bikes into Boston or Cambridge or Somerville, because they have an exclusive agreement with Blue Bikes for basically operating a bike share system. So over the course of time, we did have, like I said, we had a good experience with Lime. There were a little bit of kinks here and there, but they ended up, their program ended at the beginning of, it ended at the end of fall last year, but they officially ended it at the beginning of this year and went straight into electric scooters.
One resident expressed how she likes the idea of riding a blue bike into Cambridge because Lime bikes did not give her that choice.
It will be nice that you can get a blue bike here that then you could ride into Cambridge and leave, because previously if I picked up a Lime bike in front of my house, I had to ride it to the Arlington-Cambridge line by Alewife and drop it.
The senior transportation planner went on to explain that the location planner was not quick, but shared the different factors that went into the docking locations that will be installed soon.
I worked with the Bike Advisory Committee and some advocates from the East Arlington area in order to try to locate some of these stations, which have specific sizing guidelines and that kind of thing for us to be able to locate them. And so we also did a public poll, a survey where we got over 500 responses of different networks that we had developed to try to have a system that would be able to get to Mass Ave, the Bikeway, and Broadway. And because all of the closest stations are in Cambridge and Somerville, all the new stations, or the stations that we're starting as our part of the program, would have to be as close to those stations as possible, or required as part of the Blue Bikes guidelines. So that's kind of why they're all in sort of the center and off to the east area.
These are images of the proposed locations that were presented at the last Select Board meeting and can be found on the Arlington Town website. Blue bikes, once installed in Arlington, will cost $2.50 for every 30 minutes. You can also purchase an all-day pass or even an annual pass that can be selected online or on the Blue Bikes app. Some are excited for the addition of the blue bikes in Arlington, but some think it was not in dire need, but beneficial for those who can't access a bike.
I think they're great. I mean, as long as they can be kept safe is the biggest thing with COVID, but I feel like they're awesome.
I feel okay about it because they're used outside, and if people carry hand sanitizer with them, like I always do, I think that shouldn't be a problem. I think what is a problem is people getting together with big groups inside, not social distancing and not wearing masks. But the blue bikes, if used properly, that should be fine.
Blue bikes, I think, are going to be an ad, but they're not really what we need here. They're more for people that don't own bikes or don't have a bike with them in that moment. Whereas the real goal is to solve that last mile of transportation, so people will choose not to drive.
Along with the 4 locations that were approved by the Select Board, they're going to determine at the next hearing on the 31st if 2 more locations could be added. For ACMi News, I'm Maxim Isaac.
That'll do it for this week's once again abbreviated newscast. A special shout out to our young news team, Anim Osmani and Maxim Isaac, for doing the lion's share of work on this newscast while I was out for much of the last week. We try to keep you abreast of all the latest news and information on our ACMi News Facebook page, and you can find this newscast and lots of other great content at our website at acmi.tv. Happy almost fall, everyone. Please, take care of yourselves and each other. For ACMi News, I'm James Milan. We'll see you next time.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.